Hello everyone, and welcome back to Happy Hot Home. So today I want to talk about automatic pool covers. I get a lot of questions about them and my thoughts about them, and we've had one for about a year now, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of having a retractable automatic pool cover, so I can help you decide if you think it's worth it to add one to your pool, to your existing pool, or to a new build of an in-ground pool that you are presently working on. So I wanted to give you my 5 pros about having an automatic pool cover. So starting at number 5, they're great so you can close them if there is a lot of pollen out, if a lot of leaves are falling. It is great to be able to close the pool cover. Okay, so that's one aspect, right? So you're keeping all of the pollen and the leaves, and you're keeping all of that stuff out of getting into the water. But on the other hand, now it's just sitting on top of your cover. So that's kind of a negative about it, but it does serve as a positive and a negative. Okay, that is number 5. Number 4, it can act as your winter cover. So we do not have a winter cover because I did not want all of those nails and hooks drilled into the stone for which to attach the pool cover to, the winter cover to. I didn't want that, so we use our automatic pool cover as our winter cover. Okay, so that's a pro, but there's also a negative to that because an automatic pool cover is not porous and the water does not get down into the pool. It sits on top of the pool. So what do you have to do? You have to pump the water off of the cover. As opposed to if you did have a winter cover, it is porous and the snow and rain seep down into it and fill the pool. So that is number 4. It can act as a winter cover, but with a caveat. There is work involved in it. Okay, so moving on to number 3. If you have a heated pool, which we do, when you do turn on the heat, if you put the cover on afterwards, after you have finished using it, it's going to retain a lot of the heat, as opposed to if you did not have a cover. We all know that the price of propane is very expensive. It is expensive to heat a large pool, but if you do go through the cost of heating it, you do want to cover it to retain a lot of that heat for the next time. So that is definitely an advantage to having a pool cover. Number 2 advantage of having a pool cover. Depending on what your laws are in your state, having an automatic pool cover may eliminate the need for you to have a fence around your yard. It's a safety concern, and the law, at least in our state, is that if you do have an automatic pool cover and you can close it, you do not need to have a fence around your property or around the pool because you are able to close the pool and make it safe. So again, I don't know, depending on each state, that is the law in our state. So that is an advantage. If you're trying to weigh the cost of the two, you don't have either. Maybe you want to choose a pool cover over the fence. Fences are expensive, but that is just something to consider between the two options. And maybe your state doesn't have that law, but it is something to look into if you are building from scratch and you are building a brand new pool. So now, the number one reason to have an automatic pool cover is safety. 100% it is child safety. If you have little ones running around, you know how scary it is to think of the possibilities that they could fall in and, accidentally drown. So the peace of mind it gives you to add a pool cover to your pool when you're building is huge. And even if you don't have small children, if you have a lot of relatives or family or friends that do have small children, and a lot of small children are over at your house often, it still provides a big safety net for when those kids are around. And it just makes you feel better. You can close it. If you're inside and the kids are outside running around, you can close it and just not have to worry about them getting hurt. So that is absolutely huge. To me, that is the number one reason why you would want to have an automatic pool cover, and that is child safety. So let me talk about a few of the negatives. So some of the negatives is that depending on the size and shape of your pool, if you are adding one after the fact, after your pool is built, and you have let's say a kidney-shaped pool, adding a pool cover isn't going to be very attractive. You are adding, the cover is going to be rectangular, and they're going to have to put these like metal bars on the side of your pool, and the pool cover is going to be sitting on the deck, and then it's going to cover your pool. Okay, not great. Not super attractive. That is a negative. But again, if you're doing it for child safety, that is the number one reason, and all of these negatives, don't mean anything because child safety is number one. But I'm just giving you a few cons if, the child safety isn't one of your concerns that's thinking of. I'm just giving you some of the other negatives to think about if, again, child safety is not one of the things that is most important to you. Not want an automatic cover. They break, and they probably break often. We've had issues with ours, and they're going to break at probably inconvenient times for you. You're having a big party and you go to open it and it doesn't open. Then what are you going to do? So there is maintenance required. You should have them regularly maintained. You should have someone out looking at it, making sure that all the mechanisms and the brackets and everything are okay. But so that is an additional thing to consider, that they do break and they're kind of a pain. As I mentioned earlier, the shape of the pool covers, mostly rectangular, at least the ones that I've seen. So it is going to limit you if you are starting a new build and you want it to look as cohesive as possible with your pool. It is going to limit you in the shape of the pool that you can choose from, which is mainly going to be rectangular, right? If you want it to look the best, you're going to pick a rectangular pool with a rectangular cover. You can't have, any straight edges on the side or kidney-shaped pool or any curves to make it look cohesive. So you are limited there. So I don't know if that matters, but that is another thing to consider. I also mentioned maintenance. You do, besides just having the cover maintained when it does rain and you're using it in the summer and you have a huge downpour and you have your cover closed, a lot of water is going to be sitting on it and you need to pump that water off. You don't want to just try to open it with, pounds and pounds and pounds of water sitting on it, because that could damage it. So you do need to pump the water off. So that's additional work that, do you want to have to deal with that type of maintenance? I don't know. It is kind of a pain to put a hose in and move it around and move it to the deepest area. Oh, well, now the water's sitting over here, so let's put the pump over here. And then, pumping the water off the pool. That is, an additional thing to do. But let's talk about the number one negative about having a automatic pool cover, and that is going to be, ding ding ding, you guessed it, cost. They're expensive. You know, depending on where you live, how big your pool is, what type you're getting, you're probably going to spend anywhere from $6,000 to $15,000, which, you know, is a big chunk of money, you know, when you're building a pool, to add that piece in. Pools are expensive and there's so many other costs involved in it. Do you really need that? Again, for child safety, 100%. You cannot put a price on that. Doesn't matter what that costs to, you know, protect your children. Absolutely, 100% do it. But again, if children are not a factor, is it really worth it? So that is something to think about. So I'm going to show you a little bit. I'm going to close the cover and I'm going to show you a little bit about how it works and what ours looks like when it is closed. So before I close it, I do want to talk a little bit about the fact when you are having a new build, you know, how they can be built. And I do love the fact that ours is 100% hidden. It is hidden behind these stones and you don't see it at all. I really, really do like that. And, you know, that was part of the build. You know, I'm pretty sure that you can't do that after the fact when you have a present pool. But, you know, you can talk to your pool builder about completely hiding it when they are building a pool, if you are building a rectangular pool. But it is very, very nice to have it just completely hidden under those stones. I really do like that. But let me go over and show you over here. Again, before I close it, I will show you what it looks like closed. But when we come up here, as you can see, it's going to stop right here. And the spillover area is not covered. Is that a problem? Well, let's talk about this for a second. So in winter, again, we use this as our cover. When the cover ends just there, you know, the water is lowered to make sure that the water is below the waterline tiles. That's part of the winterizing process, right? Because if the water gets too high and touches the tiles, they could freeze and pop off. So we do need to maintain that and think about that throughout the winter. And I do come out often and check it. So I go over to this little spillover area and I look down to see where the water level is. So when it rains a lot and it snows a lot and the snow melts and the water has been lowered, if we get enough of it and it comes up to the waterline tile, then, you know, need to call the pool guys and say, hey, you know, we need to lower the water level. So that is a consideration, but that's just our configuration of the pool because we decided to add the spillover area. Had the pool, you know, come all the way enclosed right there, then that wouldn't be an issue. So that's, again, just our pool and the way our pool is configured, and I'm sure many of you probably won't have that situation. But that is something that, you know, we have to think about with our configuration. Okay, so I am going to now close the cover and show you what it looks like. The button is actually in the pool house, so I wouldn't be able to be this close to film it. So I've got my son over there and he is going to close it for us, and you can see how it closes. And deciding where to put the open and the close button, I decided to put it in the pool house as opposed to putting it over here, because I figured we would be in the pool house most often, right? So it would just be convenient to have the button over there. I guess the rules are that you do need to be able to see the pool clearly when you open and close it. There could be, you know, a child under there, someone stuck under there, or you do need to be able to very clearly see it when you are closing it. Oh, hold on one second. Okay, a little technical difficulty there. I think I actually gave my son wrong directions. All right, so we are going to close it, and I'm going to show you how this works. All right, here it comes. And you do need to hold the button when you are closing it. You know, kind of like automatic windows in the car. Sometimes you can just press open and close and it does it. Other times you need to hold it. And this is what you need to do. So you do need to hold it. Again, I think for pool covers, that's a safety thing to make sure that there is not anyone or any child or anything down in the pool. So as you can see, ours is gray. I chose gray because I wanted it to be the same or as close as a color similar to our stone. And our stone has a little bit of gray in it. Excellent, thank you. So as you can, yeah, as I was saying, it is gray, and there are different colors to choose from. I think there was like tan and maybe green, but I just wanted something to look as close as possible when it is closed to the pool surround. So again, not the most attractive things, right? The pool covers, but I guess my goal was to make it look at least least unattractive as possible. So I hope I achieved that. So when it is closed, that, you know, it's not super ugly. Of course, it's much prettier to look at that beautiful blue water and to hear the water and, you know, to see the reflection. That is just beautiful. We all love that. But we want to minimize about how unattractive this does look when it's closed. So I think this is probably as good as we can get. So I'm happy with it. Again, in conclusion, would I recommend it? For child safety, 100%. Of course, can't put a price on that at all. But if that is not a big concern of yours, then, you know, you do want to think very carefully and think about all the maintenance and everything involved in it and weigh the pros and cons of having a pool cover. So I hope that helped you. Today is July 4th. Look at I wanted you to show you our flag. Love our flag. Love our flag so much. So I hung one down over the balcony. Right? So proud to be American regardless of what's going on in our country. We all have different beliefs and think different things, but always and forever very, very proud to be an American. All right, all. That was it. I hope that helped you, and drop me a line, comment if you have any questions, and happy 4th of July. Like and subscribe, and we will have another video coming shortly. All right, have a good one.